Welcome to episode 106 of Crosstown Cardboard. The title of this one, eBay is Still King, because if you're a faithful Crosstown Cardboard listener or viewer, you'll remember the challenge that Craig put out to me on the last episode. We talked about listing some of my cards on eBay, which he's had so much success doing, and I realized that I can learn a lot from Craig, not just in cards, but also in real life. But that is Craig. I should introduce him at New York City Sports Cards, the math teacher, the soccer coach in New York City. And I'm Carmine at Carmine's Cards, originally from Ossining, New York, but now a sports reporter and storyteller in Greenville, South Carolina. And Craig, we're just coming off Clemson football's huge loss to number one Georgia, 34-3, which I got to cover in Atlanta. The good news is I had the opposite success selling on eBay. And I was really motivated because, we're always trying to put out good stuff to give value to people who spend their time consuming Crosstown Cardboard. And you challenged me after we stopped recording last episode, and you said, the only way we're going to talk about eBay and that topic, which is what I wanted to talk about, your criteria for a successful eBay card, you said the only way we're going to talk about that is if I have a successful sale on eBay. So then the next day I listed 8 cards on eBay and I sold 3 of them already.
Good for you.
So I'm pretty excited, and I appreciate you giving me the challenge and having me put myself out there and get going on eBay, which I've been meaning to do for a while because I've seen how much success you've had with it.
Well, you said you wanted the theme of today's episode to be about eBay, and you had the boring title idea of eBay card criteria. That really moves the needle. But I only challenge you because how are you going to speak on what makes a good eBay card when you yourself don't sell on eBay? So I said to you, all right, you want to talk about eBay cards next episode, sell some cards on eBay this week. And it sounds like you did. You think about how many ways there are to sell cards in person at shows, trade nights, go to shops. You could sell cards on Whatnot. You could sell cards on Alt. You could sell them on PWCC, which is now Fanatics Weekly. eBay is still king. And I've said those exact words to many, many people in my DMs. When it comes to selling cards, eBay is still king. And we're going to get into why. We're going to get into examples why. But right off the bat, people complain about fees, right?
Yeah.
eBay takes, for argument's sake, roughly 15% fees.
Yeah.
Don't people want to buy at 85% comp? So what's the difference?
Yeah, if you're able to sell it at the full last comp and you're comfortable selling at 85% in person, then it would be a wash. But yeah, I'm glad I'm now more so able to talk about the eBay card criteria, or the much more catchy title, why eBay is still king.
eBay still king.
Because of the challenge you gave me, because otherwise I would have been more just interviewing you on what you look for in an eBay card. But now I can have some examples.
I've had my eBay account since 1998. That's
wow.
Roughly around when I sold it was a family eBay account, but I've totally taken over. I definitely sold my first card on eBay in the last millennium. So shout out to our OG username. Yeah, it's been around not long before 98.
Yeah, 1995, September 3rd, 1995, eBay was founded.
If you look at my eBay account, my family, well, now it's mine. Jill Goldie, we've been around since 98. There it is. Jill Goldie, member since 1998. Obviously, we got that 100% feedback. Let me ask you a question. What are 2 main reasons why people don't want to sell on eBay? I think these are pretty clear-cut, 1 and 2.
1, the fees.
Which we've already established is roughly 15%.
Yes. And 2, I would say just the time it takes to list cards.
Yes, I would say those are pretty clear-cut 1 and 2. So 1, as far as the fees, I think the eyeballs you get on eBay relative to any other way of selling way makes up for what you'd lose in fees. And 2,
that makes sense.
Now that you've experienced it a little bit, can you agree listing cards on eBay is really not that difficult and not so hard?
Yeah, it's just a matter of like getting yourself to actually list it, because really it probably takes about 5 minutes to list a card, especially if you can find the recent sales. And then if there are recent sales within the last 3 months, you can click on the sold tab, click that, let's say Brock Purdy inscriptions Leaf rookie auto. And if there's a recent sale, just click on that, scroll down, click sell one like
Sell
this,
one like this is key.
and then it fills out all the info for you already. So
sell one like this, at least it might not be exactly the way you want it, but it will give you the category, some subcategories, and you just make little tweaks. So yes, if you're selling a car on eBay, sold listings or even active listings, sell one like this definitely saves you some time. But
yeah,
just get into it. Selling on eBay, your experience, why it worked for these cards, and I'll explain from a few examples of mine. By the way, we're going to talk about other things on this episode as well, but we made a promise.
Including a fluff and stuff.
We got a fluff and stuff. We got you're selling on eBay. I got a ticket back, little Uno role reversal we got going on here.
Right. All right. So let me just throw some stats out there, because I looked up eBay first starting in 1995. You got your Jill Goldie account in 98. I think I've probably had my account for 15 years. I think 2010 is when I joined. But so some of the stats here, according to Wikipedia, eBay has 132 million yearly active buyers worldwide and handled $73 billion in transactions in 2023. Almost half of that was in the United States. So in the United States, almost $37 billion worth of transactions on eBay last year, just in the United States.
Okay.
I didn't know it was that much. I mean, that's crazy. That's a lot of money.
You could buy stock in eBay. Wow, this is like turning into a whole promo for eBay, not sponsored. You could actually buy stock in eBay, and I'll tell you what, they're up over the last, well, they peaked right around 2021, but over the last year, I like the eBay growth chart, but we're really getting on a tangent here. Let's talk about the cards.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, they're nowhere close to their peak of 2021, but a lot of other.
So I think we are in agreement. I think we're in agreement that you can sell any sort of card on eBay, but when we say eBay is still king, we're referring to maybe the more unique type cards that you're not going to find everywhere else. That's been my experience, at least. Can I give you one example, and then you can go into your recent sales?
Yeah, and that's what eBay is still king is not referring to the stock price. Obviously, it's referring to the best place to sell cards, in our opinion, online.
Yeah, I was just looking at like if you want to buy stock in eBay itself, but disregard that. I digress. Here's a great example of only on eBay. When I bought out the collection a few months ago, there was some late 2000s, early 2010s cards. So I had this 2010, 2011 Panini National Treasures, Sean Elliott. Do you know Sean Elliott, basketball player?
Yeah, Spurs.
So this is a Century Legend insert card. Actually pretty low numbered out of 5. A Sean Elliott 2010 National Treasures insert, not autograph, no jersey, nothing, just an insert numbered out of 5. I listed it on eBay, and I got $75 for that.
Wow, really?
Let's see. That's my point.
Compared to like an Instagram or Facebook story sale, what's your likelihood of getting $75?
There is just no chance am I listing a Sean Elliott insert card numbered out of 5 and getting $75 for it only on eBay.
Wow.
Think about how many eyeballs I might get on an Instagram story sale. Think about how many people are searching eBay daily. The unique, the rare stuff like that. Maybe someone's trying to build that set only on eBay. eBay's still king.
Right. I like how we're incorporating the only on eBay phrase into it also. And the card criteria is just we're just throwing that in the trash, right?
I guess so. I mean, it's
good. It's good. It's just boring. It's good, but it's boring.
Sure. But there's an example of how eBay's still king. Now talk about your recent sales.
All right. I got, you want me to do one or you want me to do all 3? I'll start with
Feel the
one.
show.
Let's start with one. Our buddy
Oh.
Ricky Williams. Remember we talked about him. I actually listened
Yeah.
to a great podcast with Ricky Williams on All the Smoke. So it was kind of coincidental that, again, very unique, specific card that it's the Leaf in the game used full letter patch of Ricky Williams, of course, game used patch, numbered out of 8. Only one sale like 3 years ago for $50 or $60. So I listed on eBay, buy it now, $99 with $450 shipping, and it sold within a day because it's an awesome card. It just needs, like you said, the number of eyeballs
Exposure.
that are exposure. Exactly. The number of people looking for Ricky Williams cards, maybe in a Saints uniform or just a game used letter patch, because it's a unique type of card, along with being, somebody who has probably a decent collector's market, but isn't a super liquid type of card or player all the time. So even though he was amazing, but I sold this for $99 with the $450 shipping. After all the fees, I'm coming home with $85, and I bought it for $55.
Take that.
So that was an easy. It seems like this fits the card criteria of eBay.
Sure. All right.
Which I was figuring out also by participating in it, which participation is required. Rob used to say that, sports card therapist, all the time, which was a very true phrase. You have to put yourself out there and try it. And I learned a lot from trying it and made some good sales out of it too.
Very nice. Another reason why eBay's still king. I can't believe we're still talking about Lamine Yamal, but here we are. When I was trying to sell some of his cards on Instagram, I was getting the same responses from friends. I'm not touching his stuff. They're making so much of it, overhyped. But
yeah,
these cycles in the sports card market, like you and I know better. I would say the vast majority of people we know better than to don't buy this guy because he's all hyped up right now. Don't buy this athlete because he just had a big game. Well, not everyone is as seasoned as collectors as we are. There's still a huge audience out there who's going to buy the hype, who's going to see a player had a big game and build into the hype. So eBay is still king because it gives you the ability to try to time an auction to end at a certain point. So when I sold this Lamine Yamal rookie card, which really shouldn't be more than like a $30, $40 card, and I ended up getting $118 on bids, it's because I had the power, and only on eBay can you really do this, to specifically end the auction the day after that Champions League final when they won. And whereas your Instagram page is probably filled with more people who understand the cycles, eBay is probably filled with a bunch of brand new collectors just saying, oh, Lamine Yamal, they just won. Let me go see what rookie cards he has coming up for sale lately. And there's still those people out there who are going to buy at the wrong time when everything's real hyped up. So the fact that I had the power to list this eBay sale, I knew I was taking advantage of timing because that was when when Spain had just won the Euros. And I knew that there's still a huge audience out there who's going to buy cards on the hype, who's going to notice right when a game ends, they're going to search up that player. That audience might not exist as much on Instagram where I do other sales. So eBay's still king because you're able to kind of manipulate your auctions a bit, and selling this Lamine Yamal at a really good price, making probably 4 or 5x my investment, is another example of why eBay is king.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the number of people too, I think, contributes to that, because you have so many people who, let's say, maybe 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 5 would do that on eBay and buy at the hype. Whereas even if you just move that same ratio over to Instagram, it's going to be way fewer people, way less exposure. But I think you're right. If you're looking for a card, oh my gosh, I'm so hyped up, Spain's my team, let me buy a card to commemorate this moment, you're probably going to go on eBay to instantly know there's going to be a card of Lamine Yamal that I can buy right now, rather than how many Instagram story sales would you have to go through to find a Lamine Yamal, the exact card that you're looking for. Right. So totally true there. And I guess that's kind of what I capitalized on also before the football season. People are so excited. Fantasy football drafts going on. The season's about to start right around the corner. It'll be a day away by the time this episode comes out.
Wow.
The Chiefs and Ravens about to kick off the season. That'll be awesome. So I had this card that I've mentioned on the podcast before, but this Brock Purdy leaf metal numbered out of 99, and it's autographed, and the inscription is Mr. Irrelevant 2022. So that's a really cool inscription, especially his journey. Last pick in the NFL draft, third string quarterback, then becomes the starter, and now they're going on deep runs all the way to the Super Bowl in the playoffs. So I bought this for $450 at the National, one of the trade nights. Last sale was $600, but the sales before that were like $525, and then they were all around $400. So I'm like, well, if I can capitalize off the last sale, then that'll be great. So I had it on eBay, and I did your advice, Craig, not only listing it on eBay, but also putting a buy it now and a best offer for this one. Because for me, kind of going back to listing cards on eBay, I wanted to try out a few different methods. I didn't do any auctions yet because that was a little too risky for my blood right now as a new, getting back into eBay again. But I did do the buy it now with the best offer. So I listed this, like I said, last sale $600, but I listed this for $999 with a option for a best offer. So that was my buy it now price, almost $1,000. And I got offers like 300, 200, and I kept countering back like 600 because I knew if I sold it exactly for what the last one sold for, you take away that 15%, and I'm still making like a $50 profit or so. So I'm like, all right, well, I could do that, or a little bit more than $50. So I was denying, some of those offers, and then a guy messaged me, and he's like, "What's the best you'll take?" And I said, "Message me off eBay," and I sent a screenshot of my Instagram. Yeah, which is another thing that I've learned from you. Sent a screenshot of my Instagram. I said, "Connect with me or shoot me a message." Sent that photo so he knew my Instagram, and wrote me there, and he said, "This will be for my PC. The best I can do." He's like, "I can offer you between 300 and 450 max." And I said, first of all, that's a big range. It's kind of silly it's kind of silly to tell me that your best is between a range of 300 to 450, because what am I going to think that offer is? 450, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, okay, well, what about 350?
Yeah.
But anyway, so that cracked me up. And the other thing was that he was like 75% of what the last one sold for, which is 450 max, and this is for the PC. And I'm like, no thanks. Last one sold for 600. I appreciate the offer though. So last night I denied that guy on Instagram, and then I wake up this morning and I look, and I'm like, $750 offer on eBay.
Hey now. And
I was like, wow. I'm like, I'm literally waking up to record our podcast. I'm like, hold on now.
That happened this morning?
Yeah, this morning.
Wow.
Yeah, like just half an hour before we started recording. I said, wait a minute. I'm like, I'm not seeing $75, right? So I wiped the sleepy sand out, and I'm like, all right, 750. I was like, I made sure, I accepted. And just before we started recording, the guy paid. So actually sold it for, which the last sale, I should say, was 2 months ago. So it hasn't sold since. And this is a unique, I think, the card criteria for eBay here with the inscription. And of course, Brock Purdy being a popular quarterback, the Niners are favored to go back and have a great run in the playoffs again. Rookie auto inscription, haven't seen it sold in 2 months. So this person might have thought, well, this is my chance to get it. And so paid 33% over comps for this Brock Purdy. So I bought this for $450. I paid $450, like I said, at the National Trade Night. Sold it for $750 on eBay, but after the fees, I'm going to get about $640. So I made about $190 on.
Good for you.
Putting this on eBay. So I was happy about that one.
Yeah, look, no one's giving you $640 on Instagram. That's just the reality of the situation. That's why eBay is king.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, they're
being able to list cards on eBay too that you don't really see a lot of. Like if you're the only listing, you have all the leverage.
Yep.
I don't buy much on eBay. I really don't. But
No, I don't. I don't either.
And I don't have many recent eBay sales, but it's just interesting to see the things that I have sold, like a Jason Williams orange prism because it's jersey number that I sold for 32 that I bought for $8. A Ty Lawson 2014 Donruss Elite jersey number die cut numbered out of 3. Probably bought this for $5-10. Sold it for 22. It's just the unique stuff. It's the jersey number stuff. Like for you, the Brock Purdy, the Mr. Irrelevant. You're not going to maximize your dollars on Instagram more times than not. So eBay's king.
Right. And last one I sold on eBay. And again, Craig, thanks for the encouragement to push me to put these cards on eBay because it resulted in some great learning and some great profits as well. Was this one that we actually talked about at I think right after we stopped recording. And you're like, yeah, that's a great eBay card. That really fits the criteria. Was this Sabrina Ionescu New York Liberty Prism WNBA Color Blast 2023 in a PSA 10. So the Ionescu Color Blast in a PSA 10. This is only a pop 2.
I remember you saying that.
So like you said, if you're the only one on eBay, you have all the leverage. So this particular card, like the other one of this pop 2, sold on eBay a few months ago. I think it was like $450 is what this one sold for. But when I bought this for $420, I noticed that other years of this Color Blast in a PSA 10 have been going up. And the last one sold for $625 of a different year that actually had a higher pop than this year's Color Blast in a PSA 10. So I'm like, well, if somebody's willing to pay $625 for that year's Color Blast with a higher pop, somebody's probably willing to pay at least around the same for this year's Color Blast in a lower pop. So I listed it on eBay for $650, sold it the next day for exactly that price, $650 on a buy it now. Actually, $649 because I like to list it $1 less than the number, just like all the stores do. Make you feel like you're getting a slight deal. You're like, oh my gosh, $649. That's so much better than $650. So sold it for $649. And after the fees and then the shipping came out to about $550 that I was getting.
And you paid,
and I paid $420. So it was $130 profit on that one. So with those rare, I mean, all 3 of those are rare low pop cards that haven't sold in a while or don't come up very often. The Ricky Williams game used full letter patch, the Brock Purdy Mr. Irrelevant 2022 inscription, Leaf rookie auto, and the Sabrina Ionescu Color Blast in a PSA 10. All 3 don't come up very often. They're players that people like, but you need probably more exposure to the audience for those cards. And they're rare, cool, collectible. And it was great to make those. So out of those 3 cards, because of the push you gave me, I came away with around a $350 profit.
Hell yeah.
For those 3 sales. So in just
Good
a week.
you.
Thanks,
Good
bro.
for you.
Yeah, thanks for the encouragement.
Listen, those sales don't happen probably elsewhere. That's why eBay is king. Couple important notes to make about eBay. We really haven't had an eBay type episode. I don't think this is really the most groundbreaking stuff, but a couple points to note. I've connected with people on Instagram internationally. I have found selling on eBay internationally is way easier because eBay takes care of the shipping and all, like it doesn't cost too much to ship internationally. If I connect with someone who lives in France, for example, and I'm trying to ship them a card and I do it all myself through the post office, I just don't find it as cost effective and secure. So selling internationally, I think eBay is 100% the way to go. You mentioned this already, connecting with someone on eBay, but then connecting with them offline. Always a great way to go. Both people save money. Like, sorry, eBay, we're taking the sale away from you. You make plenty of transactions. Give the little people an opportunity to make a little extra buck. Being careful with stuff like message me elsewhere, because you do have to cover it up like you said. So if you're trying to connect with someone offline, as you mentioned, you could send a screenshot. I'll write to someone, hey, connect with me through I_G instead of typing out Instagram. So there's little loopholes to be able to connect with people on eBay, but like connect offline without eBay flagging it.
Right.
Like I sold this this Dirk Optic 101 because it was someone who made an offer on eBay. I went to see if their eBay username was also an Instagram username, and it was. So we made a sale offline. He saved money on shipping and fees. I saved money on shipping and tax. I saved money on fees. So both parties win.
Yeah.
That's really all I got for you on eBay.
Great, bro. I think we covered it pretty good. And I know that you have to leave soon. So I would love to get into the next couple topics. I'm sure we'll hit on eBay, and I'll provide some updates of the other eBay cards coming up. But what do you want to get into first? The fluff and stuff or the PSA submission?
Let's go to quickly talk about this ticket. This was a storage unit find. If you're an OG listener, the same storage unit that I got the Mrs. Babe Ruth autograph. I had picked up this remote view ticket, Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. This was 1975 Thrilla in Manila, which is a fight that took place in the Philippines. So this physical ticket here was a remote view. So they had tickets like this all across the country. This one in particular was basically if you wanted to watch the fight in Asbury Park in New Jersey, you paid $15 admission and you got to watch the fight in a convention hall. This is the physical ticket. I think this is cool for a lot of reasons because they made a bunch of different remote view tickets based on where the location was. I just think the aesthetics of this ticket in particular were really nice. Mm-hmm. You see Joe Frazier's face. You see Muhammad Ali's face. You even it says Thrilla in Manila. So I think this particular ticket was a cool one. Never a doubt that this was going to be a PSA 1. This was a pretty cheap storage unit find. But as we've talked about on here, and as I've learned in my conversations from you, part of grading a ticket is what you want the label to look like. And the label makes a big difference. So when you're grading a ticket, you have a little bit of freedom in terms of how you want the label to look. I think this one turned out incredible. So here's the ticket itself. Pretty nice. Obviously, we got the PSA 1. The label says 1975 boxing remote view. Ali versus Frazier. Tele, meaning the telecast, not the live event ticket. Ali wins. Important distinction. So we understand who actually won the fight. But there's levels to this. So I made sure the bottom row said 14th round RTD, which means retired. And I needed to make sure the label said Thrilla in Manila. That's what this fight was really known for. So I've seen previous remote tickets get sold, and the PSA label all said 14th round TKO, which is a total knockout, which is not inaccurate. But what happened in this fight was it was not just a traditional TKO, total knockout, but it was
technical knockout.
My fault.
I would love if they should have a total knockout, though. They're like, this guy got knocked the fuck out. It was a TKO.
Excuse my brain's still not fully working. That's why I was late this morning. I ordered coffee and I ordered it from the wrong location. Anyway, technical knockout. This was actually RTD. So what happened in this fight was Ali won by corner retirement after Joe Frazier's chief second, Eddie Futch, asked the referee to stop the fight after the 14th round. So, a technical knockout might only be declared by a referee or a ringside doctor at any stage of the fight, including rest periods, but a retired RTD counts as a type of knockout, where an RTD is a fight stopped by the referee while the clock is stopped in between rounds.
Okay.
Whereas a TKO is a fight action stopped by the referee while the clock is running. So basically, in between rounds, Joe Frazier's camp was just like, this fight's done.
Yeah.
So you might not know that if the label is read TKO, but I made sure the label was titled RTD. I just think it tells a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, it definitely does. I didn't know that. That's a cool part of the story. And it's interesting that PSA would allow the TKO to be put on there if it seems like it's factually inaccurate.
Well, no, because RTD is a type of TKO. But it does make sense that when I requested RTD to be on the label, PSA took a long time with this. I'm not going to lie.
Do you think like several guys were just huddling over it? They were like, is it a TKO or an RTD? And they were all...
I do think someone who was reviewing this saw where I requested it, and they had to do their own research and say, okay, RTD, what does that mean? Is that actually what happened? Is that factual? Because sure, you want to customize the label, but like they have to make sure it's accurate. I just think
Yeah.
this turned out incredible. It's a really nice looking ticket. It's the Steve Loft special PSA 1. And I
Yes,
think the
Steve.
label really tells the full story about what happened in this fight. Ali won by 14th round retirement. And really cool collectible piece. Am I going to keep this? I'm not really sure. Even though
Yeah.
it's a cool piece and I found it, the fight itself doesn't really have a special connection to me. So guess what I did? I put it on eBay.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll see
Wow,
what happens.
it all comes back around. Okay, wow.
I know. We'll see what happens. I'm into this for such a low cost. It's a cool piece. If I keep it, I keep it. If I sell it for a little profit, that's cool too. But yeah,
And that's so key, like you said, with the Thrilla in Manila. That's what everybody knows that fight as the name of, and having the 2 photos of the faces on there.
a lot of the
Totally.
remote tickets did not have that. And this is
Yeah.
a PSA 10. Sorry, PSA 10. Pop 10, 12 higher. So not that many. And that's not for this ticket in particular, just all telecasts. If there was a telecast in Jersey, there was a telecast in Vegas. 22 total graded.
And those tickets, like the actual ticket, I've looked those up before. Just,
20K.
Going in. Yeah, I mean, it's
20K,
crazy.
yeah.
And there's hardly any out there, because if you think about it, it would have to be an American person. Well, I guess it could be international too. It could be just somebody who had to either go to that fight in the Philippines, have the ticket, preserve it for 50 years now after the fight, have it graded. I mean, it's just back then, anything could have happened too. So even if you did go, put it in your luggage or whatever. So to have the actual ticket to the Thrilla in Manila would be astronomical. And so that's the next best thing. The telecast.
Yeah,
that's cool.
This will be a cool one if I bring it to a show. Definitely a conversation starter. And I like it because there were telecasts across the country. This one just happened to be pretty close by to where I am right now. So
yeah,
that puts a bow on my second storage unit adventure. Nice and slabbed up. And that's a cool
here. I see your listing. I see your listing right here. Jill Goldie, 1,205 eBay transactions, 100% positive feedback. You have that listed for $499.99 or best offer.
Yeah, I got some watchers.
That's nice. Good for you. I'm seeing that's one of only 2 telecast tickets on eBay.
You see how the other ticket is the other ticket's not as aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, the other ticket doesn't have the faces on there. Yep. Does it even say Thrilla in Manila?
I don't think it does.
No. So those are the 2 big factors that set yours apart. So I would buy yours over that one if I was going to.
Oh, thanks, man.
You got it, bro. Okay, so this fluffing stuff to cap off
the
show.
Oh man, this was such a perfectly executed fluffing stuff.
Okay.
I went to great story too. I forgot I was going to share this. So I went to Alex's MVP.
Yep.
My local card shop, 10-minute walk. And I think I told you last week they gave me, did I talk about it in the episode where they gave me 15 minutes and half of one showcase to put together the soccer display?
Yes, you did. And you showed off the display you put together, which was very nice. You did a good job with that.
Thank you. So I showed up. I went to the shop 2 days ago. So that would have been roughly 5 days post soccer display. And there was only one card that was sold from it. All right. Whatever.
They need to list them on eBay. Did you tell them to list them on eBay?
Yeah, they don't do that. But listen to this. While I was in shop, you cannot make this up. On the other end of the store was a dad and his son, and they were looking at soccer card packs. And the kid says to his dad, as they're looking in the showcase, "Oh, Dad, are there any soccer cards on display here?" And they were looking in the baseball section. So I go over to the dad and the son. I'm like, "Oh, you guys are looking for soccer cards on display? Let me show you where the showcase is." And obviously I led them towards the display that I put together.
Right.
And I left them alone after that. And the kid picked out a Messi that was out on display from my display and actually purchased it on the spot after I led them to my soccer display.
That's great. But they had no idea that you were the one who put that display together.
They had no idea I was the one who put it together. They didn't know where it was because it was kind of hidden. But I'm in the store with the owners. I'm like, "Guys, come on." Like,
you're like behind the kid and the dad. You're like, come on.
That's a win. That's a win. Give me the win here.
That's great. Good for you.
Anyway. So when I was there the first time, they had showed me this card. They had he picked up from the soccer collection that he got, and it's a 2017 Topps Chrome. Are you familiar with the significance of that set?
Is that the first year of this is soccer again?
Yeah.
First year of World
Chrome.
Cup.
No, 2017 is first year of Topps Chrome.
Okay.
Really iconic.
Should have just left it at first year.
Beautiful looking cards, but they had this. You're a Barcelona guy.
Yes.
Andres Iniesta, gold refractor autograph.
That's a great. You know what was funny at the SoCo Expo at the National, when of course we had Scott on the soccer show after the show at the National. I was asking about Andres Iniesta because I remember that World Cup winning goal for Spain and his great run with Barcelona, setting so many guys up and being, Messi's Robin to his Batman all those years. And I'm like, where's the Iniesta? But I'm glad you picked that up because I was surprised he wasn't a little bit more collectible.
He is somewhat, but the 2017 Topps Chrome, the gold refractors, there's so much significance. You probably can't get the full effect, but it is a stunning card because the gold, it just covers the entire background.
Yeah, that's on card.
No, it's sticker, but fully on the sticker and pretty bold autograph. So the first time I was there and I saw that, they had a sticker at $400, and that just stuck with me in the back of my mind. Over the course of the next few days, I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that card. Let me put together a trade proposal for them.
Okay.
So I went in with exactly 7 cards. I comped them, and I valued them around $310. So before I even walked into the shop, I said, I know they have this card. I'm going to present to them these 7 cards with the comps. I'm going to offer the 7 cards plus $100 cash, and let's see if they accept. And Carmine, with not even no negotiation back. Well, he looked at the cards, but to a T, the plan that I put forth, these 7 cards plus 100 cash. I walked into the store with 7 cards, 100 cash, and I walked out of the store with the Iniesta, like exactly the way I drew it up.
That's great.
To a T. Now, obviously, again, you want to be fair, right? You want to make sure you're giving the shop cards they could use. I want to make sure I'm into these cards for decent value. We got a Jalen Brunson Prism in a Knicks uniform, PSA 10. We've got a Dana Taurasi Purple Prism. I know the picture is not great. PSA 10.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Hart in a Knicks uniform, Obsidian Purple out of 99. A Randy Moss 2000 Pacific, numbered out of 144. That Pat Riley autograph that I had just picked up. Joe DiMaggio game used bat and OG Anunoby. Gold rookie numbered out of 10 from Dominion. I comped these at $310. I am into these cards for roughly $75 to $100.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, man. So I was able to give the shop, a New York City shop, plenty of Knicks cards with the Hart, the Brunson, and the OG, and the DiMaggio. Some cool stuff to fill their showcase. And I know they don't have the biggest soccer audience. So I was able to pick this up. A card that's probably worth $300 to $400 is worth more like $600 to $700 in a PSA 10 that I'm now into for roughly $175 to $200. And I was able to give the shop a bunch of cards I know for a fact they're going to be able to use and move and fill out their showcases with. So everybody wins. And I drew it up to perfection.
Perfect fluff and stuff there, bro.
Yeah.
That's a master at work right there.
Also excited to grade a card because I don't really have any cool cards out for grading. So I'm going to set that one to do a double autograph card grade, set it and forget it. And in a month or two, hopefully I like the results.
Nice. Well, good for you. That's great. Look at how that worked out.
To a T.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good for you. And you were going in. The nice thing about that fluff and stuff too is you weren't like reaching for a card that maybe you were semi-interested in the trade. You made a plan beforehand. You already had located that card and you were able to go in. You know what I mean? Like that makes the fluff and stuff even better when you take a card out that you really were trying to pursue rather than this is just like the best available option they had in the store and it's decent, but it's not something you're like, okay, I really enjoy this card.
Yeah, and I do like the card. It was nice to have a few days to take the time. Like, all right, what do I really think this is valued at? What do I feel comfortable trading it into it at? okay, let me look at my assets. What can I give them? What am I into these cards for? What are they valued at? To have the time to do so was definitely an advantage for me. And like I said, it worked out perfectly. I wasn't like on the spot trying to make up a deal in the store. I really had time at home to make sure that I was prepared with a strong offer.
Right. And just the last point that I want to make, and then we'll wrap it up with the Dennis Rodman that I mentioned in the last episode. And we were talking about the difference between the PSA label saying trading card versus on this Dennis Rodman rookie auto saying 1988 Fleer. So the actual name of the card on the PSA label versus just the trading card on the label. And we were going back and forth and trying to hypothesize what exactly the difference was. And I just wanted to read a couple quick comments about what people wrote in because we were asking for some advice and some perspective. We got one comment on Instagram at Bowling for Ice Cream. Great YouTube name. I'm sorry. This is on YouTube. Love the channel. Keep it up. Trading card I've seen on reprint cards. If the card doesn't look authentic and when there are sets with autograph cards and base cards using the same image, but someone gets the base card signed in person. Ross from Hawaii. And he had the
mahalo.
Great. I didn't know there was an emoji for that, but that's awesome.
Really?
Okay. So interesting perspective there. And then another comment from Remy Collect on YouTube. Needed this break from the fantasy football podcast. All right, great, Remy. Glad to provide that. Trading card means the Fleer wasn't technically authenticated. I definitely prefer the card authenticated with the auto grade. I guess it's a bit cheaper not to authenticate the card. And I think that's so I guess it could be a reprint, right? If the card's not authenticated, it could be the authentic card. But if somebody doesn't pay to authenticate the card itself, I believe that's what this is after doing a little research myself. Like, it's just the person submitted, like I have a Shaq here too, the iconic 1992 Topps Shaq rookie card autographed in person with the PSA 10 auto grade. But both of these say trading card on the top of the Dennis Rodman 1988 Fleer and the Shaq 1992 Topps. And I'm almost positive that's what it is that the person didn't pay to authenticate the card and just authenticated the auto. So it could be, I mean, whatever the card is, I guess it's up to your thought on it. But, I mean, I don't think you really see too many reprint of these.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's reprinting 1988 Fleer.
Yeah, or 92 Topps. I don't know what the reprint market is, if people are doing that. But, I mean, you look at this card, you compare it to others, you can kind of tell it's authentic. But so I think that's what it is, just not paying to authenticate the card and just paying to authenticate the auto, and then you get the trading card label.
Yeah.
So
that's all I got for you today. Hey, it's Labor Day, but we're still out here putting in the work.
Did you just think of that now, or did you have that saved up?
I did. Right? It's supposed to be a day to take off work, but look at us podcasting.
Yeah. Podcasting, we're obviously grinding on
such hard work.
I'm gonna go print out an eBay. I'm gonna go print an eBay label for this Brock Purdy rookie auto sale. So yeah, we're still working. But shout out to all the workers out there on Labor Day, though.
Yeah, it's a fact. I go back to school tomorrow, so summer's over.
Card club starting?
Not till soccer season ends. But yeah, sports card summer over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good summer.
Yeah. I'll see you in the fall.
All right, bro.
Peace.